Oh, wow. It's been a while. It's definitely been a while.
Don't worry about that little guy.
So what's going on, everybody? Long time no talk. I have to apologize in advance for the eyeball thing. We got allergies like kicking my butt, like literally kicking my butt hardcore this year. I don't know what the problem is, but looks like I went freaking 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. Every day, my eyeballs are just falling out of my head. But anywho, it's been a long time since I put up a video. And I kind of feel bad about that because you guys have been asking for them and we haven't been putting them up. And, you know, it's just been one of those things where the shop is always so freaking busy and everything is always going on and everything is always an emergency. And we've got a ton of stuff going on every single day that it's just hard to get these videos out. But I'm going to start trying to do more and more of them. I'd like to get a video out once a week for you guys because we got a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. Like, you know, one of the examples of what's going on right now is this Silverado that you see behind me. And what I'll do is I'll switch the camera around. I'll show you guys what that one's about. All right. So I think this is like a 2012 or a 2013 vintage 2500 HD. This one does not have a rotted frame yet, which is absolutely amazing. But what it does have is a lot of this stuff. A lot of surface rust, a lot of scale, and it still has the old GM wax on the frame, which does a pretty good job until it doesn't. Once it starts to fail, you start getting stuff like that, and that gets real nasty real fast, and then you end up going into here and getting the rot and everything else. So on this one, you can see we're getting all of that nastiness off the frame on the floor, which then has to be cleaned up, and we're getting it down to pretty much bare metal. So this frame is going to get the treatment where we basically pull it down as close to bare metal as we can. We're going to use a nice etching primer on it to bite into the metal, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint the whole thing. And then from that point, the customer will be, you know, they'll have the option to do like fluid film or some sort of oil undercoating or something like that. Something that's not rubberized, that's not waxy, that's not going to kind of trap water and everything else. So that's something that we do offer. Not cheap. So if you're interested in this kind of service, just let me know, shoot me an email, and we'll get yours in for that kind of stuff. But this is a good preventative measure to stop this truck from rotting. It's in really, really good shape as it stands, but yeah, you can see even the cross member right down to bare metal. So we got some really cool stuff going on with that. We actually just got done putting an engine in one of the Jeeps that we did a frame on. So that took a little bit of time. We had this one dropped cylinder number 2, and it had a cracked intake manifold. So I can show you that. The intake manifold on the side over here was actually cracked and broken, which caused a lean condition in that cylinder. It washed down the cylinder and ultimately cooked the number 1 and number 2 cylinders. So we got that all set and ready to go. That was one that we had previously done a frame on before, so the customer was very familiar with us and we were familiar with them. So we did new engine, clutch, pressure plate, throttle bearing, new gaskets, new intake manifold, and a bunch of other stuff. We just got that one done. That one left and went home yesterday. Under the tarp over there, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I picked up an Escalade, 2008 Escalade with the 6.2 in it, and it had dropped a valve, so we have that all apart now. Motors under the tarp there. So eventually we're going to get that thing back together. And what else we got going on? We got the rear axle from a 1971 Camaro. Had a center pin, got stuck in one of the spiders, completely destroyed that center pin. You can kind of see the problem with it there, how it's ground in. One of these spider gears is completely destroyed. You see how hot it got because it's a different color. So we're trying to get this all fixed up and built. Then we got the 39 Buick. The 39 Buick is one of those things where it's a long-term project. Unfortunately, we found some suspension issues with this thing. it was towed improperly and it was strapped down improperly and it ruined the whole rear suspension. So we're trying to find parts for that. But unfortunately, O'Reilly's doesn't carry parts for a 39 Buick, especially long arm suspension parts. So you can see the shop is an absolute disaster at the moment because of everything that's been going on. There's just parts and parts and parts everywhere. There's intake manifolds for Trailblazer SS's and cars and batteries, and half the parts for the Escalade over there. The other half of the parts for the Escalade are under the tarp. The Escalade is actually sitting right outside here. Nice little whip, picked it up super cheap. And then we got the BMW 540 that's never gonna get done. That's sitting out there. And then of course my Avalanche. So we got a lot going on. Like a lot. Way more than I can even begin to tell you guys about. So the most important thing out of all of this is I actually met a girl and started dating her, and she's absolutely amazing. So I've been spending a lot of my free time with her. She's actually been helping out with the shop quite a bit. We've been friends for like 15 plus years, and things just worked out, and here we are now. So eventually I'll introduce you guys to her. She's probably going to be doing a lot of the filming on these videos and helping out around the shop, so you guys will see her from time to time. But oddly enough, I'm Justin. Her name is Justina, kind of like it was meant to be. So just add an A to the end of my name, and there you go, you got my other half. But other than that, we've got so much. I mean, even back here, there's just parts and boxes, and oh my god, it's almost too much. Actually, it is too much. It's a lot. So filming videos has not been something that was, time-wise readily available for us, and we kind of regret that. We were talking about it the other day, and we're like, we need to get back on YouTube. We need to get back posting videos. I know you guys love seeing the frame videos, seeing the Jeep frame videos, and oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, there's another Jeep sitting outside that also needs framework. So that's been crazy. So there's just a ton of stuff going on, an absolute ton of stuff going on. And as I sit here and ponder and walk through the shop, it's just more and more apparent that we need to clean this place. So I think that's probably what I'm going to get on today. I've got a windshield frame I got to fix for another Jeep frame. And I know that sounds crazy, but let me show you. So we have this windshield frame that is rotted slightly on the bottom that I got to repair for a customer who needs to get his Jeep to me to get his frame done. But his windshield was rotted out and the windshield broke, so we now have a good frame and everything else. We have an old roll cage from a Nova. I mean, there's just crap everywhere. Literally, spare tire from a Silverado. We got wheels and tires. We got the three-wheeler that still needs to be done. But thank God for this guy right here, right? A little bit of air conditioning in the shop, because today in Connecticut, it's supposed to be 90 plus degrees with like 100% humidity and a real feel of like 105 degrees. So when we're welding with all that stuff over there and I'm wearing a thick leather jacket, not so good. Shout out to YesWelder. In case you guys are wondering, all of this YesWelder stuff I've had for over 2 years now. And it is flawless. It has been performing flawlessly. Thank you all to everybody who's ordered from YesWelder. I really appreciate it. They really appreciate it. And all of their equipment is still running strong. And we beat the bricks off of this stuff. And I ain't kidding you. Like, when I say that, I mean, you can look at how dirty these things are and how much crap gets ingested into them, and they're still working absolutely flawless. So huge shout out to YesWelder for making a product durable enough for an everyday use shop owner, as well as affordable enough for the everyday craftsman who's working out of their house who just wants to play around a little bit. So great stuff. If you haven't yet, hop over to YesWelder.com, check them out. Super, super cool equipment. I wouldn't endorse it if I didn't believe in it. And yeah, every single piece of equipment we use on all of these vehicles and all these repairs is all YesWelder stuff. So yeah, there's some more of the Escalade parts over there. We got Jeep springs and stuff over on the floor over here. So we got a little bit of a mess going on. Actually, we got a bit of a mess going on, but eventually we'll get it cleaned up. My poor birthday balloon looks like a dead fish. But yeah, just tons and tons and tons of stuff. So this is going to be the first video that you guys see in a while, and it's going to be a long string of us doing, hopefully, what I'd like to do is like a video every Sunday, just to kind of get you guys up to date on what's going on in the shop, what kind of projects we're working on, and that'll give me a chance to sort of film things throughout the week as the week goes on. And, you know, get you guys a better idea of what we've been doing in here in the shop and everything else to kind of keep you up to date on everything and you know, get the presence back out there with YouTube. And I really enjoy doing it. It's just that it adds so much more time to the actual job itself when you film it. But if I can find somebody to film it for me and I can just continue to work and then go home at night and edit these things and get them up, then we'll be good. So look forward to more videos coming very shortly. Oh, and by the way, I got a new tattoo. Did that as well. So tons of stuff going on. Tons and tons and tons of stuff going on. So hopefully we'll see you very soon. This video is probably going to go up on Sunday. Today's Thursday. So yeah, if I find anything else interesting that I can film between Thursday and Sunday, then I'll put it in this video. All right, so I told you guys that I would show you what one of these things looks like when it's not rotted and we pull all of the factory wax off the frame and then completely treat the frame so that it doesn't have an issue. So let's check. All right, so we'll start at the front. Now this truck is, I believe, a 2010 or a 2011, so you can kind of gauge from that. Now, mind you, you're not going to get everything on these, but you can get the good majority of the frame, get it all cleaned up, get it primed, painted, and looking good again. So here's what the middle section looks like. Way better than it was, and I think you guys saw it in bare metal. And so now you can kind of get an idea what it looks like once it's all been treated and painted. So pretty wild. They come out really, really nice. And it gives you another, you know, 5 or 10 years in New England before it rots off and completely destroys itself again. All right, so for reference, and if you guys are wondering what all the wax stuff was on this frame, GM used a wax coating on their frames. Instead of like a rubberized undercoating, they used a wax coating. That coating is actually really, really good. However, once it starts to go bad, it goes bad quick, it starts flaking off, and then the frame starts to rot. So what we usually do is we take all of that off, and you can see how good that looks. We take all the wax coating off of it, and then we use a self-etching primer, prime it all up, and then paint it. And once all that's done, it looks amazing, and it buys a bunch more years with this frame. And the only problem to this is that doing a job like this takes a week to clean that frame up, to get all the wax off of it. You can't sandblast it. You can't hit it with a flap wheel. You can't hit it with a wire wheel. You literally have to either freeze it and knock it all off, or there's a little trick that we found, and maybe someday we'll show you that. But there's a little trick to getting this stuff off of here so that you can actually repaint the frame and the paint will actually stick. Now, of course, you're never going to get all of it. That's one of the problems with these. And if you look above me, that cross member, super hard to get into. A few other odds and ends, very hard to get into. But for the most part, you can get a good majority of it. But for right now, I'll see you guys on the next one, which will be next Sunday. And hopefully we'll get some cool stuff for you guys to watch. All right, have a good one.